Welcome to the HR Chat Show, one of the world's most downloaded and shared podcasts designed for HR pros, talent execs, tech enthusiasts, and business leaders. For hundreds more episodes and what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit hrgazette.com.
Welcome to another episode of the HR Chat Show. I'm your host today, Bill Banham. According to a recent Glassdoor survey conducted by the Harris Poll, over 2/3 of US employees would like a way to ask their co-workers and company leaders questions anonymously at work. In addition, 3 in 5 US employees wish that they had an online community where they could get career advice on dealing with workplace-specific challenges. Glassdoor recently unveiled new community features that enable users to anonymously or openly connect in real time with other professionals about their company and industry on desktop or on mobile. Joining me to explain what all of this means for employers and employees is Glassdoor CEO Christian Sutherland-Wong. Christian, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the HR Chat podcast today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Bill.
So beyond my wee introduction, why don't you take a couple of minutes and introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. So I'm Christian Sutherland-Wong, and I'm CEO of Glassdoor. I joined Glassdoor back in 2015. And I'm assuming most of your listeners will be pretty familiar with Glassdoor, but in case they're not, for the last 15 years, we've established ourselves as the leading platform when it comes to workplace ratings and reviews and salary sharing. We're the go-to place when people are trying to figure out where they want to work, what type of job they want to have, and what type of company they want to work for. And then in recent months, we've been expanding what Glassdoor means to people and starting to now explore allowing people to have conversations on our platform with their colleagues and people in their industry so they can have real talk with one another.
Thanks for tuning in to the HR Chat podcast. If you're enjoying this episode, we'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. And now, back to the conversation.
You're a pretty dynamic, exciting guy leading a globally recognized brand. Everybody knows Glassdoor, I think. What does a typical work week look like for you?
Oh gosh, I wouldn't say there's any typical work week. It's so varied, and I love it that way. One piece of context is that since COVID, we've embraced being a remote-first company. We still have a number of leases and office spaces around the world, and so we make that available to our employees. But for the most part, most employees work from home. And so for me personally, I love to work from home. I live up in Marin, just north of San Francisco. Spend most days of the week working from home. Probably come into the office in San Francisco a couple of days a week just to connect with people and to do something different. A lot of what I do in the workday is connecting with the team. My background is in product management, so I probably spend more of my time on the product side, and I think it's so important for Glassdoor, particularly as the stage of company we're at, as we keep innovating and trying new things. So I spend a lot of time there, but I also try and connect with all parts of the company. Sometimes I'm on the road. We have employees located both in the US, in San Francisco, Chicago, Ohio, and all around now, as well as in Dublin and in the UK. And so at times I'm on the road connecting with employees all around the world, and also going out to connect with partners and customers as well.
What's the best thing about your job?
I think I feel so fortunate to be given the responsibility to look after Glassdoor and see it prosper into this next chapter. I took over as CEO in 2020 from the founder, Robert Homan. And I feel a great responsibility that Robert built an incredible platform, a true internet treasure that is so valuable to people all around the world. And I think it's just such a privilege to be able now to oversee Glassdoor in this next phase of growth for us.
Good answer. Okay, so to usher in a new era and evolve the product experience, Glassdoor has recently revealed a new logo and brand identity that emphasizes the connections made throughout careers. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so as I began before, with the last 15 years, what we've been known for is being the leading platform for workplace ratings, reviews, and salary sharing. And we've, I think, added a lot of value to people's lives in doing that. But since COVID, we've seen that the workplace has fundamentally changed. People are more dispersed than ever, whether they're working remotely, whether they're in a hybrid situation, only coming into the office a couple of days a week. And we've seen even on our platform in the ratings and reviews that people talk about feeling disconnected, feeling lonely working from home, and not feeling as connected to their colleagues as they once were. And at the same time, we also see this new generation of workers who are entering the scene now have even a greater desire to be able to talk about a whole range of topics at work. Not just when it comes to not just work stuff, but everything that's going on in their lives. They want to be able to show up as their whole self at work. And so we see an opportunity for Glassdoor to be able to sort of solve some of these problems that people are talking about, and being able to have connectivity in the workplace. We've built this great platform that's known for workplace transparency that applies really well when you're looking for a job. So why can't we now apply this same concept of transparency to when you're on the job? And when you want to talk with your colleagues about what's going on at your company, or you want to talk with a person who's in your industry, even if you're really happy in your current job, just to learn more about what's going on in the industry or at their company as well. And so that's ultimately what we're trying to do here, to be able to be more valuable to all the people who use Glassdoor.
Okay, very good, very good. So, as part of my homework ahead of our conversation today, I was all over the Glassdoor blog, and I found a post by you in which you say the following: as we advocate for workplace transparency everywhere, it's imperative that we also walk the talk here at Glassdoor. Today, we continue our own commitment to creating a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace by publishing our 4th annual DEI transparency report. Tell us more about the report, Christian, and why it matters, what that says about you guys.
Yeah. As I said, we need to walk the talk. And one of our company values is transparency. So that's transparency within the 4 walls of Glassdoor. And something that I felt we've been living since I joined Glassdoor 8 years ago, and something we continue to want to live as we go forward, as as a shining beacon for other companies, that operating transparently with your employees is actually a really good thing, which we believe is the case. And one area of transparency is around diversity, equity, and inclusion. From the beginning, even 15 years ago, one of the most talked about topics in reviews was topics around issues of diversity in the workplace. And that has only grown in its importance in people's lives and their work life. And so we've leaning into this. And so we've, in the last few years, created new features to both not rate companies overall, but also rate them on how they do when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion. We invite our users in the US to, if they want to, optionally, they can leave their demographic information, which allows us to provide transparency to other people of how different groups of people feel about a company or a job. And then the other thing we encourage employers to do is to be on the front foot with transparency. And that's what we're doing with our own diversity DEI transparency report. Is we're publishing all of our diversity goals. We're publishing all of our diversity statistics, so the world can see us and people can hold us accountable. And as if you read the report, there's progress has been made, but we're still far from where we want to be. And so it's a work in progress, but something that we're really committed to.
The Association for Talent Development members and customers are professionals who help others achieve their full potential by improving their knowledge, skills, and abilities in the workplace. They go by many titles: talent development managers, trainers, instructional designers, performance consultants, frontline managers, workplace learning professionals, and more. ATD's members come from more than 120 countries and work in organizations of all sizes and in all industry sectors. Interested in learning more about membership and ATD events? Visit td.org.
Let's now talk a bit about some of the new community features released by Glassdoor that I mentioned in the introduction. Sounds like you're offering loads of new things to users to offer lots of new ways to collaborate and network and all the rest of it. Congratulations. The first feature users can have candid conversations in real time with online communities to ask questions, get answers, network, and confidentially share their professional and personal perspectives in a supportive space. So, sounds good. Tell us more about how that's helping employees.
Yeah, I think that's the centerpiece of what we've launched is this platform for real talk in the workplace. And there's different types of communities you can join when you come on to be able to chat with other people. One of the most important communities we think is your own colleagues and co-workers, where we create a private, what we call a company bowl, which requires verification with your work email address. So you know it's just people from your company who you're chatting to. And at Glassdoor, we've been playing with this feature for a while. And I can tell you it's had an extraordinary impact on how people communicate at Glassdoor, on people's feeling of connectedness to one another, but also ways in which people raise issues and concerns and push back against decisions in the company. And so we can talk a little bit more about that in a sec, but just to kind of give you a broader overview. So the company bowls are a key part of the experience, but then we also create more public bowls, which related to what industry you work in, or an interest area, or an affinity group. So it could be, the tech industry bowl, or the HR industry bowl, or it could be working mums as an affinity group, or things of that nature. And you can come on and chat and talk about topics that you want to. And it's really a whole range of work and life topics that people bring up. They feel very comfortable sharing in an environment where they can choose their level of identity. So for many people, they choose to be anonymous. That provides them, some security, and that there's no repercussions to people having to other people judging them, or people in their work judging them for their comments. And then other people choose to post with their identity, so they can post with their full name. And so we see a mixture of both. But what's most important is we want to create a safe space so we can have real conversations on the platform.
Okay, and users can also join conversations in hundreds of bowls on a wide range of topics, from industry bowls like finance to interest and identity bowls like working moms or Black in Tech, to private company bowls where users can engage with co-workers and leaders at their company, as we were talking a little bit about a moment ago. How are these bowls being used then? What does this new avenue do in terms of opening up the possibility of sharing ideas and collaboration?
Yeah, we see all of that happening in all forms of these bowls. And I think the one that I was mentioning before, which I find most powerful, particularly in our own Glassdoor employee experience, is our private company bowl. What we've seen is that people at Glassdoor have really embraced our company bowl, and people's usage of Glassdoor's own platform has skyrocketed since we launched this community feature into our own internal employees. Employees go there to talk about what's on their mind. It could be something that's they're really grateful for. It could be something they're really upset about. It could be something really lighthearted. But it's all forms of chat happens, and people feel very safe doing it there. It's different to using an internal work system where your identity is shown and it's the platform's owned by the company. If you think of Slack or email, the company buys your Slack instance or your email instance, and whereas this is grounds up. This is something that the user has found themselves and they've voluntarily joined in. So people feel really safe to express all forms of views. And then for leaders within Glassdoor, we're now finding that our Glassdoor Company Bowl is the most valuable resource for us if we want to get a read on how our employees feel at any point in time. And when I'm talking to the company and I've got a town hall coming up, or I'm thinking about what's on people's minds, it's often that the company bowl is guiding me in the types of topics that I'm going to be addressing, because what I'm seeing is that people want to talk about. And so I think there's been other ways in which you try and get feedback. You use these pulse surveys, which you do once or twice a year, and they can be great, to give you a one-off read at that point in time of what's going on. But if you want something real time, I don't think there's anything else on the market than what this company bowl offers for leaders. And so it's really, really exciting for us to experiment with that ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much. My understanding is when conversing, users have the option to be fully anonymous or reveal elements of their identity like company name, job title, etc. So are we talking about something that could rival LinkedIn here? Is this actually a feature which means that networking is now a big option for users?
Once in a while an event series is born that shakes things up, it makes you think differently, and it leaves you inspired. That event is Disrupt HR. The format is 14 speakers, 5 minutes each, and slides rotate every 15 seconds. If you're an HR professional, a CEO, a technologist, or a community leader and you've got something to say about talent, culture, or technology, Disrupt is the place. It's coming soon to a city near you. Learn more at disrupthr.co.
Yeah, networking is an option for users, and in that ways it could rival LinkedIn. But at the same time, I feel like this community we're building is pretty different to LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn is very much centered on your identity, and everything you do on LinkedIn comes with your identity. And I think that works really, really well in the LinkedIn context. But it means that some conversations, some forms of opinions aren't going to be expressed on LinkedIn because your identity comes with it. And I think it paints an overly rosy picture of how people feel when you only have your identity shown and the kind of LinkedIn type experience. I think what you get on Glassdoor and what we've been known for historically, even before we launched into these new community features, is we're the place for real talk. And you can kind of give the real inside scoop on what's really like. And I think that anonymity plays an important role in providing safety for people. And so I think that's the key difference here of the community we're building. There's going to be different types of conversations. And we see it already. There are very different types of conversations that happen on Glassdoor as compared to what you would typically see on LinkedIn.
Christian, you're not going to believe this, but we are pretty much out of time for this brief chat today. We'll just have to get you back on again. But before we do wrap up, how can our listeners connect with you? So maybe you want to share your email, LinkedIn details, Glassdoor details. And of course, how can they learn more about Glassdoor?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, you can. I'm on the Glassdoor company website with in our leadership team bios if you want to learn more about me, as well as my LinkedIn profile, and feel free to connect with me there.
Perfect. Well, that just leaves me to say for today, Christian, I appreciate your time. Glassdoor is a company that I've admired for many, many years, and it's about time that we got one of you guys on. And to get the CEO, what a coup. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
And listeners, as always, until next time, happy working.
Thanks for listening to the HR Chat Show. If you enjoyed this episode, why not subscribe and listen to some of the hundreds of episodes published by HR Gazette? And remember, for what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit hrgazette.com.